that whole business.
Oh
Since we're
man.
talking about it, let's go ahead and bring it up. So what it is that it's a week-long conference where the defense industry comes together with the government and special forces and probably other special forces around the world, and they show off all their cool toys.
I see. Wow.
We're gonna see who's the best. We're the best, the fastest, the bravest. Look at the little drone. Just
A drone. Oh.
So, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, it kind of looks kind of cool. That would might be fun to go to just to see all the cool toys. But then, like, that's just the guy fantasy in me. Like, I wish I could see all the cool toys, but then I know all of my tax money is being wasted on this garbage.
Yeah, it's a waste of tax money to create it. It's a waste of tax money to put on that show. Those companies didn't pay to put on that show. That's taxpayer dollars that paid for all
Well, it's
those.
subsidized. You know what it is.
All that bull crap that they're going to show us that we're never going to get, we're never going to use, we're never going to see.
Oh yeah,
Just a
yeah.
waste.
We'll give you some examples of some of the wasteful stuff here in a minute. But like, yeah, let's. I want to see cool toys they're bringing up. I see the jets that we never use. Paragliders, really?
Oh, it looks like. Yeah, cool. Somebody jumping out of a helo in water.
Is it in competition? Oh, parachuting. Yes,
paragliding. Oh, normal. No, water landing. Oh, yeah.
Those look like fun. Yeah, but yeah, that's what's going on this week.
Black Hawk.
It's like
yeah,
they're just having all kinds of fun.
It was just a show of force.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like they don't put on military parades like third world countries. We just do them at conventions instead.
Yeah, like SHOT Show.
Yeah, SHOT Show, another good example.
Yeah.
I mean, but that actually has like civilian counterparts that are actually trying to sell their gear too. So I guess that's fine. I mean, at least it's personal money. It's not taxpayer money. Like if taxpayers are paying for it, I'm a little upset. That kind of
taxpayers pay for everything.
I know, right? They always pay for everything. Anyway, so I think this is the one with the reporters saying how why they come together.
We're here in Tampa for the Global SOF Foundation SOF Week. That's Special Operations Forces. Tampa is appropriate because it's the headquarters of the Special Operations Command. And what SOF Week is essentially is an opportunity for the government and industry to come together. Now, the government brings its program managers. What program managers do is they have certain portfolios, be that aviation, think helicopters or small planes for SOF, weapons such as small arms, or even more complicated things like shoulder-fire rocket systems, or even things like cyber or different types of communication such as satellite communication and different types of equipment that the SOF community might need. So those government folks come and they basically say, here's what we need to solve our problems. We're having these issues with communications or these issues with weapons, and industry comes and pitches their solutions. So this is kind of an industry.
They pitch their solutions and then overcharge them by a crap ton. There's a video I got to show after this of a Congress member asking how much bushings cost.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, and it was very interesting. You know, his answer. It's about
like, we're getting raked over the coals.
Fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, we're one of the more advanced militaries in the world. So a lot of the equipment that we have now that's helped us all the way through 20 years of fighting dudes in caves in the desert is still pretty effective. You know what I mean? So a lot of these programs, a lot of these ideas that they're pitching, I think will be a complete waste of money when we can be putting that money towards more training, upgrades in equipment. But you don't need to come up with a whole new system that hasn't been battle tested. But we know how. Yeah, but we know how it works. A lot of this stuff gets pitched that hasn't been tested, so we got to go to war in order to get it tested.
Right, like they did with all of our PPE, right? So like all of the vests and plates that we had to test and the different variations of it. So I was in when they decided to test the HESCO barrier version because you had the what was it, the OTV or whatever the one before it was, like the really light one.
Yeah, the IOTV.
Yeah, probably that one. And then you had what we called the turtle shell, the HESCO barrier one that was like full of just nonsense.
Yeah, all the bull crap on it.
Yeah, and so they had the side plates, they had the full thing and the neck and just like
Yeah.
the dick guard, the whole 9 yards, right? It was like wearing a turtle shell. And in Afghanistan, you didn't need that because it was in the way. It was always in the way
Yes.
until they started
And
transitioning to plate carriers in
that's
Afghanistan.
how it was when we went to Afghanistan. So we got issued the IOTV, the big one you're
Yeah.
talking about with all the bull crap on it. And then we got issued a plate carrier. My IOTV did not come out of my freaking sea bag the whole time. Even though we brought it, we always use plate carriers. Plate carriers are
Yeah,
more
that's the one.
practical, especially for infantrymen. You know, we're on the move. We want to be a little lighter. We're already carrying enough extra stuff with ammo and frags and,
Right.
aid kit. We're carrying all this extra stuff just on our chest. You got to add another between 60 to 80 pounds more that you're carrying. Then they wanted to throw that IOTV on there with extra plates.
Yeah,
and
that's the one
small
you're talking
plate
about.
and-
So yeah, that's the one I was thinking
yeah,
of.
that's the IOTV.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the previous one was that was they used in Iraq a lot. It
That
before
was
this one.
the was it a flak vest? No, the flak vest was the old
It wasn't.
one.
It was a flag. It was the one. It was the one kind of in between the flag. What they were using in the flag
it
in the
was
'90s, and then what they were using in the early 2000s for the invasion.
I know it's because it was the one that opened up in front with the Velcro, like
Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
And not this one where you had to flip over top of your head.
yeah.
Right?
Then because it was that one. First, they had the flag vest. When I first joined, we had flag vests. That was just for shrapnel, minor shrapnel, and then later on we got. They weren't plate carrier. They're the ATA, something like that. They had the Velcro on the front. And you open the Ranger bearing vest. A lot of them call them as the Ranger vest. And then they came out with the IOTV, that big monster that you just showed.
Oh yeah. It was the OTV. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
what it was
OTV.
called.
Yep. And then they had the big one, and then they came out with plate carriers, especially for Afghanistan, where it was needed.
Yeah, this is the one I'm talking about. The multi-threat ones. These ones right here.
Yep.
These are the ones we had before. These ones were fine. They were light enough that they didn't get in the way, and you could still have your plates. And then they decided, hey, you know what would be a great idea? And the defense contractors need a bunch of money. Let's make new vests that are unwieldy and nobody will ever use in actual combat. Right? Like the guys that designed this never actually seen combat and didn't know what infantry needed. And so they're like, yeah, this is great because it gives them all the protection they need. And nobody used this. We used this. But like everything in this was unwieldy and it overheated everybody because you were in a desert environment and you thought, hey, what's a great idea? Let's put more weight and stuff around the chest so they can't breathe.
Yeah, I didn't use that at all. Even Iraq, I used the last ones you showed. And then Afghanistan actually used the plate carrier.
Yeah,
I never wore all that crap. They tried, man. I remember when we first got to Iraq, they tried to make everybody wear all those attachments, and then there was a lot of complaints, especially the guys that were on patrols and out there doing the work, doing the Lord's work. That's what I called it.
Doing the Lord's work. Yeah,
they were complaining about it. Their mobility, they would slow them down. It would get in the way. It would get caught on things. So a lot of us just started.
It was hot.
We just started dropping that stuff off, and I was like, man, it is what it is. As long as I'm protected right here, I'm good.
Yeah, because as long as you had like a frog top or something, you were fine. Because then at least you had that thin material in front of you, so you could actually keep cool. But wearing like a normal every day, no, it was going to be super hot. Like it was not comfortable. It was not fun. But that's what these defense contractors do: is they create things for the U.S. defense agencies to take and use, even though none of these people have practical experience in the field and know what needs to be done.
And we were talking backstage about these defense contractors, and I remember we talked about it, the Future Soldier program, the Future Soldier, where they had the eyepiece and they could see it was a HUD like in video games, and their weapons were these big futuristic weapons, and they can shoot from their eyepiece. Never saw that stuff, man. They were promoting it, they were talking about it, they were putting it in commercials as if we were using it, and we were all looking at those commercials like they're full of crap. We haven't even seen that stuff yet. It's a waste of money, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, like we talked about. And then one of the good examples was the recent viral video of Rep Mike Waltz holding up these the bag of insulator injector points. I thought they were bushings, but yeah.
This, Mr. Secretary, is a bag of bushings.
Okay, because he said bushings. That's why I said it.
this bag of bushings stamped out by machinists, they need a high school diploma. It's not anything high tech about this. All of this bag is compliant with the FAA specifications. How much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000. This is a $90,000 bag of bushings that you need for any jet turbine engine just to operate. So the exorbitant cost due to DoD only buying commercial parts from the OEMs, which is essentially sole source, is literally driving us out of business. I mean, the interest on our debt alone is now exceeding, for the first time in American history, the entire defense budget. We can't afford it anymore.
And so that's what we're talking about. So we have an entire week of these people coming together to show off technology that they're never going to use.
That's right.
I mean, we still have some of the fun stuff, like the robot dogs, which is cool and all. But
I want
these
one.
Yeah, I would want one, but they're practically speaking, nobody's getting these. No frontline operators are going to get these, and they're only going to be like a handful of them, maybe.
Yeah, mainly go to it's real freaking, special operating jobs. I'm not saying all, special operators
like
aren't real.
EOD makes
I'm
sense
talking
for them
about
because they're
the
handling
different tiers.
explosives. Yeah.
So you see tiers like Delta Force. This is something Delta Force would use because their budget is different and they're just a different tier. Ranger Battalion would use something like this. Navy SEALs would use something like this. Maybe Green Berets. They might get some scraps. But you don't see regular line units unless they're EOD getting something like this. You're not going to see an infantry platoon get out the dog bot, and we're not going to get one of those. So it's a waste of money.
Just like this one. I mean, this one's cool and all. I mean, you could buy this as a civilian because it's 10 grand, by the way. You could buy this. Yeah. But this is the kind of technology that they're coming out with. And then I honestly question the practicality of what you're actually going to use in the field. Like, that's just my question. It's like, you're spending all this money on garbage and it never gets any use. Like,
yeah. So if I have a future mama out there, I want that for Christmas. Okay.
You want that for Christmas?
Yeah, if you're out there, no. But remember that show Black Mirror?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
Remember they talked about this? That was years ago, and they were talking about these dogs. Mm-hmm. So these dogs are going to be something that we're going to see. Things like that we're going to see running around. They've used it before in hostage situations, so they're being used already. That's nothing new. But you're going to see it a lot more in the future.
It's just, I know the defense budget is already astronomical to begin with, and they have a bunch of things that are sitting in armory somewhere that are never getting used.
Yeah.
Like, I know that for sure. Like, I brought up the ISMIT system before we started, and how that technology isn't anything new, and that's something that we've been using for a long time. I gotta find that video again because I took it off. But it's one of those things, like, even though we had it, they barely used it. Even when I was back in the early 2000s, it was barely used. Yep. Like, they were always wanting to go out for actual field time, actual training, physical training. Like, virtual training is cool and all, but nobody actually cares. Like, literally, it's like one of those things they do as a last resort if they have to. Type of situation.
We use virtual training like if we didn't get our new quarterly budget and we didn't have the ammo to shoot, we would use virtual, or we would use virtual training to gear up towards a live fire, to the actual shooting. So you would start off virtually with your AR-15s or M4s. Then you would move over to live fire in a zero range. It was all just a lead up until your qual.
Exactly.
It's fun.
So,
it's cool to use.
It's fun. It'd be cool. It's like a civilian thing, but like as a military thing, it's like it has its uses, but it's barely used. It was barely used when I was in, and I was even help running these systems before I got out. Like, I got certified on these systems, and I know how they work. And it's just like, it's just compressed air, man. That's all it is. And it's like, like and even worse is the programming on the actual computers and like the games. I would put it like that. The actual development of the software is rudimentary at best. Like, I'm sure you could give it to a game dev and they would do much better with these systems than what these defense contractors do. Like, honestly, they've made better ones, like actual like military simulation games. Like Arma, for instance, is a better simulation game for actual military warfare, or hell, even Battlefield for that matter, would be a better simulation.
I've seen some really good simulators. Like when I was in mechanized infantry, we used to have the Bradley simulators, and we'd be joint with the tanks, and you'd be in a totally different system from someone else, but you can see each other maneuvering across the battlefield, and look, it was all virtual reality or 360 degrees virtual. That was cool training because we used it for maneuver reasons, how to control your formations while moving in vehicles. But there's nothing like actually getting out there
and doing it. Yeah.
Doing the real thing.
Like if anything, they should be investing in full system VRs, but they're not. I mean, that would actually have a more practical use because it would actually give more of a 4-dimensional feel, right? You're having these people run on mats and whatever, and then like actually have it on their head so you can simulate a lot more things. But you know, hey, whatever. That's just me. But